Yamunatira Banachari Yamunatira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Sounds like a song. Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravanikacharya Assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gahananjana Shalakhaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Didati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Betam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhunam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Brindaban Eshvari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, if I understand correctly, we're on 6th Canto, Chapter 12, Text 21. Is that correct? Wow, okay. This is an interesting saga. It stretches over 7 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam in the 6th canto. It starts all the way back in the 7th chapter, and it will continue on up to the 14th. Vritasura's glorious death. Kalavidam maha ascharyam. Kalavidam mahad ascharyam. Kalavidam mahad ascharyam. Yad Raja Prakritistava. Yad Raja Prakritistava. Vasudevi Bhagavati. Vasudevi Bhagavati. Satvatmani Dridhamatihi. Satvatmani Dridhamatihi. Kalavidam Mahad Ascharyam. Yadaraja Prakritistava. Vasudevi Bhagavati. Satvatmani Dridhamatihi. Kalavidam Mahad Ascharyam. Raja Prakritistava. Vasudevi Bhagavati. Satvatmani Dridhamatihi. Kalavidam Mahad Ascharyam. Yad Raja Prakritistava. Vasudevi Bhagavati. Satvatmani Dridhamatihi. Kalavidam Mahad Ascharyam. Yad Raja Prakritistava. Vasudevi Bhagavati. Satvatmani Dridhamatihi. Ladies. Kalavidam Mahad Ascharyam. Yad Raja Prakritistava. Vasudevi Bhagavati. Satvatmani Dridhamatihi. Kalu. Indeed. Idam this. Mahat Ascharyam, great wonder. Yat, which. Rajaha, influenced by the modes of passion. Prakritehe, whose nature. Tava, of you. Vasudeva, in Lord Krishna. Bhagavati, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sattva Atmani, who is situated in pure goodness. Dridha, firm. Matihi, consciousness. Ovritasura, demon. I'll just read it through first and then we'll do responsively. Ovritasura, demons are generally conducted by the mode of passion. Therefore, what a great wonder it is that although you are a demon, you have adopted the mentality of a devotee and have fixed your mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, who is always situated in pure goodness. So I say, and you please repeat. Ovritasura. Demons are generally conducted by the mode of passion. Therefore, what a great wonder it is that although you are a demon, you have adopted the mentality of a devotee and have fixed your mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, who is always situated in pure goodness. So the purport is short. King Indra wondered how Vritrasura could have been elevated to the position of an exalted devotee. As for Prahlad Maharaj, he was initiated by Narada Muni, and therefore it was possible for him to become a great devotee. Although he was born in a family of demons. For Vritrasura, however, Indra could not detect such causes. Therefore he was struck with the wonder that Vritrasura was such an exalted devotee that he could fix his mind without deviation upon the lotus feet of Lord Krishna Vasudeva. O Vritrasura, demons are generally conducted by the mode of passion. Therefore, what a great wonder it is that although you are a demon, you have adopted the mentality of a devotee and have fixed your mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, who is always situated in pure goodness. So this whole saga starts way back in the 7th chapter of this canto. Anybody remember what it was that we started this whole saga about? What was the event that ushered in this entire chain of things that goes all the way to the 14th chapter of this canto? Right. Indra disrespected his spiritual master, Brihaspati. How did he exactly do that? Right. He neglected him when. And, of course, what did Indra do instead? What was going on? Well, not exactly. He was... he was in the middle of being worshipped by many assembled subgroups, and so he was lost in his own puja, and he paid no attention to Brihaspati when Brihaspati entered, and therefore, what did Brihaspati do? He left, okay. What did Indra do after Brihaspati left?
Searched everywhere for him.
What's that?
Searched everywhere for him.
Right. Couldn't find him. Why couldn't he find him? Right. Brihaspati made himself invisible, so he could not be found. Okay. And what happened after Brihaspati couldn't be found?
Demigods lost the blessings of their guru, so the demons overcame them.
Right, right. That was good. So we're churning right along here. That as a result of having lost the favor of their spiritual master Brihaspati, the demons took advantage of that moment and overcame the demigods and pushed them out of the heavenly planets. And, of course, the demigods were boo-hoo. And what happened when they were very disturbed by the fact that they were being pushed out of their home. What did they do? Yeah, they went to Lord Brahma. And what did they ask Lord Brahma? What's that? Right, right. What did Brahma suggest for them to do? Right, right. They chose a Brahmana to substitute for Brihaspati. Who was that Brahmana? What's that? Yeah. What's that? Vishvarup. Yeah. And Vishvarup was the son of... What's that? Twasta. So Vishvarup was the son of Twasta. So Vishvarup was the son of Twasta, and he became the substitute spiritual master for the demigods. And what obstacle did he immediately feel, and how did the demigods deal with it when he was being asked to be their spiritual master? It was an obstacle.
He said that he would agree to it, but that he was inclined to the demons.
Something like that was another obstacle that I'm thinking. Right. Right, that was the thing that the Bhagavatam mentions, that the demigods were all senior to him, so he was their spiritual master. And Indra and the demigods came and approached Vishvarup and said, although you are junior, do not consider like this, because you are a Brahmana and you are situated in goodness, and therefore we will accept you as spiritual master and do not consider the fact that you may be junior to us in years. And of course, junior in years means that he was a few thousand years younger than they were. Whatever. People live huge amounts of times in the heavenly world. So being a few thousand years older than somebody is not a big deal if you're a demigod. Anyway, the demigods were given a particular idea by Vishvarup, and what was that idea? Right, he gave them the Ryan and Kavacha, and then what happened when they came to try to regain their position? Well, okay, that happens in a minute. What's that? Yeah, they were successful. And then, of course, what happened after that was that something was discovered about Vishvarup that disturbed the demigods by Indra. What did they discover? Right, that he was not only offering oblations and sacrifice for the sake of the demigods, he was also offering oblations and sacrifices for the sake of the demons. And Indra felt threatened by this. And so what did Indra do? How many heads did Vishvarup have? 3, okay. Probably that's one you would miss on a test, unless you really had read the story. You would think he had 1, but he had 3 heads. And one of the heads became one kind of bird, another head became another kind of bird, and the third head became yet another kind of bird. And there's a whole story about what happened there. But the important part is that Vishvarup's father, Twasta, became, of course, upset that his son had been murdered by Indra. And so what did Twasta do? Okay, good, good. So we're really, I'm happy everybody's really up on this story. So the sacrifice was made that there would be someone to kill Indra. But, of course, as they say, best laid plans of mice and men sometimes go astray. What was the fly in the ointment that Twasta did or did not do? That what's that? Yeah, he mispronounced the mantra. So in Sanskrit, there are all sorts of declinations on the ends of words, and if you pronounce them incorrectly, actually say something else. I always think of this whole thing of saying these Sanskrit incantations and propitiations as very much like computer code, that the computer doesn't do what you want it to do, the computer does what you tell it to do. And if you've told it to do something crazy, the computer will do something crazy. It can't read your mind. It just stupidly and in a very straightforward way does exactly what you've asked it to do. And if you've made a mistake in what you've asked it to do, it does what you said, including the mistake. So the issue was that he got a demon who would come and kill Indra. He's what he asked for, that the demon would be the enemy of Indra, the destroyer of Indra. But instead, he asked for a demon who Indra would be the enemy of, which is not exactly the same thing. And it indicated really that the enemy would kill the demon instead of the other way around, which was, close, but kind of, in the end run, achieved the opposite effect of what Twasta was hoping to do. Now, what's interesting is that this verse right here that we're discussing today, 6:12:21, this is where we're kind of being opened up to the future of this whole narrative, this saga. We are hearing about Vritrasura. He is born, he's very formidable, he gathers together the demons, and the demons attack. But we don't know much about him. But the future chapters that follow this one will pencil in who this Vritrasura actually is. Now, does anybody know who he actually is? What's that? Chitraketu, right. And there's a reason why he took birth as a demon, and he is not actually a demon. He is, in fact, a king, or he was a king. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So when Vritrasura is born, he rallies the demons to go attack the demigods. And what happens when the demons and the demigods square off on the battlefield? Yeah, the demons get beaten until what? Okay. And when the battle continues, what happens next? There's an important... well, right, okay. Right. But one of the things that I'm thinking of that's kind of important point in this narrative... What's that? Well, that's another thing. We should probably, that's something that's actually really key to the story that I was almost going to leave out. That Indra is up against Vritrasura, and he and the demigods wonder how will they overcome Vritrasura. So now they approach someone else. Who do they approach now? What's that? Yeah, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what do they hear that they need to do? Right, they need to get the bones of Dadichi. Why do they need the bones of Dadichi?
At one point, Dadichi actually swallowed all the sacred weapons, and so they were stored in his bones, like in his body.
Really? Okay. Okay, I mean I'm not debating it. I just find it interesting, Okay, so Dadichi, because he was very powerful, he had a lot of Shakti. So the demigods came and asked Dadichi for his bones. Of course, if you ask someone for their bones, what are they going to say? What did Dadichi say? Was that? Yeah, well, he actually said, my dear demigods, you're asking me to give up my body. Don't you know this is a painful thing? Why should I do this? Of course, Didici was transcendental, and he was prepared to give up his body for the sake of the demigods, but he wanted to hear them preach. And so they did tell him that living entities are born and they die, and just as we're born, we will die, and we are spirit souls. So in one sense, we don't die. The body certainly dies. And so they explained to him these basic Krishna conscious principles, and he agreed to give up his bones so that they could make a weapon, a thunderbolt weapon out of it. So as far as I know, this is how Indra gets his famous thunderbolt weapon. This is the whole story behind it. And of course, all over the world, there are groups of people in the past who have worshipped this main person who is a leader of the demigods in Scandinavia. He was called Thor, and he had a hammer. But here we learn it's a thunderbolt weapon. And this thunderbolt weapon was specifically made from the bones of Didici, and it had one particular purpose. And what was that purpose? To kill Vritrasura, right. So it was supposed to kill Vritrasura. So Vritrasura attacks with the demons, and one of the things that happens is that early in the battle, all the demons retreat, and they run away. And Vritrasura is disturbed by this because, you know, his whole army has deserted, and the demigods are thinking, yay, this is good. And they're beginning to attack the retreating demons. So what does Vritrasura do? Right. He chastises both armies. He's saying, it's interesting that I can just imagine how people would say this today, but he tells the demons that you all might as well have not taken birth. You are more like your mother's stool than her. Than her child, you know. So he's kind of rubbing it into them pretty strongly there, that what is the point of your birth? You're supposed to be valiant, you're supposed to have courage, and yet you are leaving the battlefield running away. So he's chastising his own soldiers, and he's chastising the demigods, and he's telling the demigods, what's the use of trying to kill these frightened and cowardly people who are running away from you? What will you gain in your honor by killing people who are too afraid to fight? So he's chastising both armies. And then, of course, it's up to him. He's got no army behind him, and he's single-handedly attacking the demigods. So he's doing that. And so this is this discourse between Indra and Vritrasura. So what's interesting is that Indra, as he's fighting Vritrasura, he's discovering, and this verse definitely reveals it, that the person he's fighting has more Krishna consciousness than he does. And he's thinking, wait a minute, why am I fighting this person? This person is a devotee. He's more of a devotee than I am. And there was an episode where Vritrasura is, Indra throws his mace, not his thunderbolt, his mace at Vritrasura, and Vritrasura grabs it and doesn't harm him at all, and instead he hits Indra and Indra's elephant and knocks them back. And he says, Indra, come on, this isn't how you're going to kill me. It's the thunderbolt. Use the thunderbolt. Remembering, it's bizarre that here are two people in life and death combat, and Vritrasura is giving Indra tips on what he should be doing to conquer rather than, trying to win himself. Of course, this is one of the interesting themes. I think there's about 3 interesting themes through here. And they're both, all 3 of them are very important themes. One of the themes is that things are not always what they seem. So Vritrasura is ostensibly born in a family of demons, but he's not acting like a demon. He's actually acting like a devotee. And he's completely fearless, which shows that when devotees understand Krishna consciousness at a deep level, they are fearless. That's one thing that we learn a lot. So things are not always what they seem. Indra is the head of the demigods. He's supposed to be the greatest sura. He was supposed to be the person who was very pious and spiritually oriented. But instead, he's confused. He's frightened. He has, offended his spiritual master by being puffed up. Then because of his fear of losing his position, he killed Twasta, so he's a murderer. All these kind of things are not very good from Indra's point of view. And so things are not always what they seem. Another theme here is this theme that whatever you were, whenever you come into the process of Krishna consciousness, all that makes no difference whatsoever. Vritrasura was born a demon, yet he is showing the character of a devotee. And Indra, on the other hand, is born as a demigod, but he's not at all a shining example of what demigods should be or what a devotee should be. So, in material life, our past makes a huge difference as far as our material sense gratification goes. But on the level of spiritual life, makes no difference whatsoever. And that's why we are told we are not this body. That's there in 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And I'm amazed that when we hear these kind of debates among devotees, that it does not just say that only men are not their body. It's not exclusive to men. It's exclusive to all living beings, women, men, whatever background you come from. When you are not the body, you are not the body. But of course, no one gets handed realization on a silver platter. We all have to work for it. We all have to engage in Krishna consciousness. If we are doing that, we recognize that we are not the body. We are fearless like Vritrasura, and we're not confused like Indra. So we are not our bodies, and that's why to consider a devotee from the platform of their past body, their past caste, or whatever nationality or ethnicity they may belong to, is actually considered offensive, because we are not our bodies. Of course, if someone is not acting on that level, if someone's acting on a bodily level, then certainly we can see that the qualities of their body do have an effect on their lives, on the way that they conduct themselves. So there are a number of verses that talk about this, but one of the most interesting ones is, let me see if I can find it here. 2:4:18. Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha abhira shumba yavana kada shadaya yenye cha papa yad apashrayashraya shudyanti tasmai prabhu vishnave namaha. The Kiratas, the Hunas, the Andras, Pulindas, Pulkashas, Abhiras, Shumbas, Yavanas, members of the Kasha race, and even others addicted to sinful acts, can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Due to his being the supreme power, I beg and offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So this is the 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 2:4:18. And it's describing all these races. In the purport, Prabhupada explains these various races, that the Kiratas are the Aboriginals of India, the Hunas are the Germans and the Russians, and probably the Polish too. Andhras are the races of southern India. Pulindas are the Greeks, and I imagine to some extent the Romans. Abiras are the Arabs. And we have the Shumbas or Kankas, And that one is kind of hard to figure out what that one is. It's one of those groups of India somewhere. The Yavanas are the sons of Yayati, the Turks, and the Kashas are the Chinese and Mongols. So these races, although generally, according to the Vedic standard, are considered all mlechas or inferior races, these races can be elevated to Krishna consciousness. There's nothing about your race or your sex or gender or nothing about your past that keeps you from being able to engage in Krishna consciousness. But again, you have to do the work. The whole process of karma does sort people into pigeonholes, like some kind of postal worker. You know, we have things sorted out into pigeonholes. And according to our past work, our past karma, we get sorted into one pigeonhole or another. And that's according to a lot of factors. Karmana deve netrena jantor deho papataye strio pravishta udaram pumsamreta kanashrayaha, which is, of course, third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Kapila Dev is telling his mother that according to the Supreme Lord and one's past activity, a person is put into the womb of a woman according to the particle of a male seminum, and therefore we come out in a particular place, in a particular environment, and it does represent the accumulation of our past behavior. However, someone who is in a unfortunate from a karmic point of view situation can rise and become a devotee. We have plenty of stories like that. Vritasura, this one is one of them. Of course, we have the story also of Mrigari the hunter, who was hugely sinful and became a great devotee. We have the story of Jagai and Madai, who were actually born in very exalted Brahmana families, but completely went against all Brahminical culture and were the most debauched of all. And then again, turned around and became acharyas. So we have this type of model in the Vedic system that one person can be elevated no matter what degraded position of life they may have found themselves in. On the other side of the coin, we see the other thing. We see that people sometimes in a very elevated position miss the point, like Sukracharya. He is the actual spiritual master of the demons, but he advised them to do various things. And of course, in the story about Bali Maharaj, he suggests for Bali Maharaj not to offer everything to Vishnu in the form of this Vamanadev. And so although he is a great knower, he's very purified, he reads the Vedas, he knows all kinds of Vedic knowledge, he's not really aware of what the real goal of life is. So from a material point of view, where you were born, what kind of race, caste, creed, color, gender you were born in, that will have an effect on your life. But from a spiritual point of view, as far as reaching the spiritual plane, that has no effect on that. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's not our philosophy. So this story will go on as we discover, and we will learn about Chitraketu, who is the previous life of Vritrasura. And of course, we'll learn what happens later on in this battle, how eventually Vritrasura is killed by Indra's thunderbolt weapon. And it takes Indra a full year to cut off Vritrasura's head. So even with his thunderbolt weapon, Vritrasura is one tough hombre, and it takes a whole year for the weapon to do its duty and actually chop off his head. Of course, it mentions in the last purport of this chapter that Vritrasura had already given up his body because when he was attacked by Indra and he swallowed Indra, he thought that Indra was dead, and so there was no point in fighting anymore, so he might as well give up his body. And by the time Indra was killing him, he was already dead. So, but this we'll find out later on. So I want to leave a little bit of time for questions. There's not much time, but at least we have 5 minutes. Yes? I mean,
someone might conclude that if I offend my spiritual master, maybe I could just go get another one.
right.
So I wanted you to maybe unpack that.
Yes, yeah. So, we should put like one of those things like they do on television. Kids, don't try this at home, you know. That generally we see that the spiritual master, when one accepts a spiritual master in a bona fide disciplic succession, one is bound to that spiritual master. And the spiritual master is our life and soul. He's the one that pulls us out of the material world. And if you offend your spiritual master, that's certainly not good. The Vedic understanding is that your spiritual life will be essentially completely ruined by offending your spiritual master. However, it's not the end of the road. Instead of going to Brahma and getting a substitute spiritual master, the real process is that one approaches the spiritual master and asks for forgiveness. And in that way, one can be reinstated in spiritual life. And spiritual life is something like crawling on your belly in the mud under barbed wire with crossfire overhead, and bombs falling around all around. So somehow or another we have to go forward, and it's not going to be easy. I can tell you right now that somehow or other the material world comes up with new and unique and mind-bending challenges every little while. If you ever overcome something, know there's something else just around the corner. It don't stop, never. It just keeps right on going. The material world is just going to constantly try to get you in some way or another. And as we see, Vritrasura, I always want to say Vritrasura, it's Vritrasura, is completely unafraid because he has fully taken shelter of the Supreme Lords. That's the only thing that can save our butts, is if we very seriously engage in spiritual life, we avoid offenses, and we try to go forward. And whatever happens, there's always a remedial measure. Krishna consciousness is one of those things. You don't have to stop Krishna consciousness and do something else. You just have to continue to do Krishna consciousness. It'll work in all the loose ends. It'll absolve you of all the stuff you didn't do quite right. It'll purify your material desires, and eventually you won't even be interested in the material world in any way, shape, or form. But that's, of course, high place to get to. Any other quick questions before we play the national anthem here? Yeah.
Maharaj, so when we look at the story, we understand that there are brahmanas among demons, and brahmanas among the demigods as well. Or I'm curious to understand, does the varnashram system exist in the heavenly and the lower planetary systems?
Good question. I don't know if it seems like something like the varnashram system must exist in the heavenly planets, but I'm not sure if it's quite that pronounced, because we see that some demigods are more involved in a ruling capacity. Brahma is not really so much a ruler, but he does that to some extent. Of course, everyone in the heavenly planets is mostly in the mode of goodness, so it must mean that essentially you have a Brahminical, theme running there. I do know that the yugas don't exist in the heavenly worlds. That's a feature of the earth plane. Essentially there's no differentiation of the yugas in the heavenly worlds, but here there is in the material plane. More than that, I can't really say about that.
Another question. In this story, we find that after Indra offended Brihaspati, he was ruined, and then he got another spiritual master.
Uh-huh.
And then after he disobeyed that spiritual master, instead of getting another spiritual master, story kind of changes track.
Right.
So how is that? How did Vishnu favor Indra after he disobeyed his spiritual master again?
Well, it's part of the whole thing that Krishna has to bend the universe to make us somehow or other able to come to him. So whatever you are, whatever you do wrong, Krishna tries to do something so that you can get back on the track. And so in this way, Indra is certainly not the acharya here. Don't follow Indra in this. If anything, you want to follow Vritasura in this particular episode. All right, so he's getting ready to blow the conch. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam.
Bhajami
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Parama Kevala Bhakti Sadma Shri Guru Charana Parama Kevala Bhakti Sadma Bando Mui Sabadana Mate Banda Mui Sabadana Mate Yahar Prasade Bhai He Baba Toriya Jai Yar Prasade Bhai He Baba Toriya Jai Krishna Bhakti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te Krishna Bhakti Hoy Jaha Hoy Te Mukha Padma Bhakya Chite Te Koriya Aikya Guru Mukha Padma Bhakya Chite Te Koriya Aikya Ana Koriyo Mane Asa Ana Koriyo Mane Asa Ya Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Ye prasade pure sarva asam. Ye prasade pure sarva asam. Chakudan dilo je janme janme Prabhu se. In Chakudan dilo je janme janme Prabhu se. Divya Gyani de Prokasito. Divya Gyani de Prokasito. Prema Bhakti Ahite Abhijabbe Nasayate. Prema Bhakti Ahite Abhijabbe Nasayate. Vede Gayara Charito. Vede Gayara Charito. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajjanara Bandhu. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajjanara Bandhu. Lokena Lokera Jivana. Lokena Lokera Jivana. Prabhu Koro Doya Deo More Parataya. Prabhu Koro Doya Deo More Parataya. Ebe Jaskusu Tribhuvana. Ebe Jaskusu Tribhuvana. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajjanara Bandhu. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamajjanara Bandhu. Lokenat Lokera Jivana. Lokenat Lokera Jivana. Prabhu Koro Doya Deo More Parataya. Prabhu Koro Doya Deo More Parataya. Ebe Jaskusu Tribhuvana. Ebe Jaskusu Tribhuvana. Duo por Elo Sharana. Lila Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbiste Sasunabadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Premsika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana ki. Vrindavan Dham ki. Mayapur Navadvipa Dham ki. Ayodhya Dham ki. Dwarka Dham ki. Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Eka Chakra Dham ki. Ganga Mai ki. Yamuna Mai ki. Tulsi Devi ki. Bhakti Devi ki. Transcendental Book Distribution ki. Sam Beta Bhaktivinoda ki. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.